All right, I think we can get started. Thank you for everyone to join this class. Let me share my screen. You all can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Again, thank you for joining. So we are going to get started. I already record the session. So if you want to go back and look at it, you can always go back and look at the recordings. First of all, those who are new, couple of things. I have added you to a Google Classroom. So let me show you how this Google Classroom is going to look like. So in the Google Classroom, you will have a stream, whatever has been posted, any messages will be here. For example, for today's session, the Zoom meeting link is already posted here. So that's a quick summary of what has been posted. And other thing is in the classwork, the second session, you have the classwork where I have posted the first week's everything, like or the PowerPoint presentation we are going to cover. And we also have a PDF version of the PowerPoint. And then we are going to have a data set to work with. Like we will be working together. If you all have Power BI installed, I will encourage you to install in your laptop. One thing is it doesn't support Mac, but you need to have a Windows machine to have the Power BI desktop installed. And then if anybody having trouble joining the class, you can always go to classroom.google.com, and then I'll give you an option. You can just click this plus button and click join the class. And I have a code for you. It is I'm putting it in the chat. Yeah, Narsi has sent another link. You can use it for Mac machine, but I haven't tried that. All right, so this is about Google Classroom. So every week I'll be posting the PowerPoint presentation, what we are covering, and then also the data set we are going to work with. And then finally, I'll be posting some quizzes, and those quizzes will be appear and then with grades. So, and finally, the fourth week we'll have a complete test, and then so that we can wrap up the class. So that's all about the Google Classroom, which how we can collaborate. This is for the new students who joined. But otherwise, I can get started. All right, so I'm going to put it in this. Okay, so we are going to learn today. This session is more about Power BI, which is a data visualization tool. So we'll get into what is Power BI and a little more about business intelligence and things like that. Okay. So first, we need to understand what is business intelligence. So what the business intelligence is, you have a lot of data when you're doing a business. You're getting a lot of data, and in order to make decisions or new venture, you need to look at the previous data and see how then ask questions whether introducing a product or services, is that going to be helpful for the company? So basically it enhances a decision making. looking at the data, how the past data you have. So in a way that business intelligence combines business analytics, data mining, data visualization, data tools, and infrastructure, and the best practices to help organization to make data-driven decisions. So any decision company is making, it will be based on the data they have collected. So it is not just the business, it will be for a research purpose, and everything you do, you have to have a past data where you can look at, how the historical performance is. So there are some terms you need to understand. Business analytics is, the taking and the last historical business data, like the past performance data, and analyzing that data to identify trends, patterns, and those are the things which is coming as business analytics. So there are some words you will hear that often. So I just put it on the side. And data mining is nothing but a process of finding any patterns or anomalies with the data. If there is any trend or any patterns, we should be worried about when we are. So for example, I am an e-commerce company and I wanted to introduce a new product. And I want to do more analysis, looking at the patterns of whether introducing this product during the winter time is good or the summertime is good. So we have a lot of data we collected. We can just go and take the data, do the data mining, and do some visualization tools. So we will cover that more in detail. But business intelligence is basically collecting data, that is called data engineering, store the data, and then do a lot of analysis, means looking at the patterns, trends, and then reporting means you can report it like a regular report, or you can also do a chart, graphs, things like that. And most probably this is all used by the executives of the company or the business managers, where they can look at the data and make certain decisions. Okay, there are some words you need to be understand and to understand more about business and intelligence. So data mining, these words are coming a lot in business intelligence. So just go through these words, understand that. I'll just go through a little bit in detail. Data mining, using the databases means collecting the data sets. For example, if it's an e-commerce business, you will be collecting all the orders, how the shipping has been done, all those information for an e-commerce company. But for a university, they will be looking at how many students enrolled, how many students been, what is the pass rate, which subject they are doing good or bad. So all these data, depending on the business, will be collected, and looking at the trend, how the trend is going. If the students are failing a lot on that subject, what should we do, right? Do a better way to bring up the business, or the research area, or whatever it is, right? So that is what is called the data mining. And reporting is nothing but whatever analysis you do, you just create a report and send it to the stakeholders. Stakeholders means the executives or people who are making decisions in the business. And then the performance metrics and benchmarking, what the performance metrics is, comparing the current performance to the previous years of performance. So you can just do a performance metrics, how the business is doing, how this product is doing, how this student is doing, or a class is doing. So those are called performance metrics. Just keep those words in your mind. Nothing fancy about it. When you hear these words, you just say, oh, this is a business intelligence words. Descriptive analytics is another big thing. It is the data analysis to find what happened. So in data science, we more look at what will happen, but descriptive analytics is what happened, use the last. So if I am looking at the report, I see, oh, what happened during the last 10 years. But what will happen in the next 10 years is more in the predictive analytics. So there are two types of analytics. One is descriptive. In business intelligence, we are more working with the descriptive analytics. Okay, we are looking at the analysis of the current and the previous data. Querying is nothing but you are you wanted to query means ask the data set, hey, show me all the sales happened in this region. So that is kind of like a query. And then the statistical analysis is again, it's a descriptive analytics, but you can see the mean, the average sales going on, what is the different statistical method to find the pattern from the data. And data visualization is nothing but visual representation of charts, graphs. We will be working on this in our workshops pretty quick. And visual analysis is also exploring the data through the visual. So once you create the graphs, you are doing a storytelling to communicate that to the board members or the executives. So that's called the visual analysis, looking at this chart and the trend is going up, and then we should introduce more of these products or services, things like that. And then the data preparation. So data preparation is nothing but preparing the data, like, past data means what all data you want to collect it. So this data will be collected from different sources. Some of them are coming from an e-commerce site, some of them coming from the financial system. So there are so many different data sources we will be collecting data. That's a big task in business intelligence. So just imagine these words comes in while we are studying, when these words comes in, and these are all what it belongs to understand what the meaning of that. So, but the term itself explains is what it is. The only thing I wanted to point this out is descriptive analytics is what happened. Predictive analytics is what will happen. So predictive analytics is what we learned in machine learning. So because you are going to predict the future, but business intelligence, we are more looking at the descriptive analytics. Okay. Let me go to the next slide. Just wanted to give you difference between the business intelligence and data science. And with this, I'm just dive more into Power BI, but I just wanted to make sure that you understand the term business intelligence and the data science. So again, I told you that business intelligence is what happened. You are looking at the descriptive analytics, what happened, what is happening now, right? But data science is what will happen. So that is the big difference between business intelligence, because business intelligence is looking at the fact, what already happened. The data is static. You will have reports, charts, trends, and the data sources are already, we got the real data, what has been already sold, what happened already, right? The transformed data quality, the data quality is coming from one source, which is the truth, which really happened. And analytics also, it is going backwards from today and backwards. But if you look at the data science side, you are looking at the patterns, correlation. You are building business models. We learned last session about supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and semi-supervised. So those are all kind of looking at the data science point of view. But these two are very correlated, because when you're predicting something, you also wanted to look at what really happened. And the explanatory experimentation, there's a lot of experimentation happens in data science, because to find exactly the relationship, because we are trying to predict it, right? So it's data science is on the fly, because you are collecting some data based on so that we can train the system. So we have sample data which we can prepare pretty quickly. But for the business intelligence, we have to prepare the data, actual data. We need to make sure that it will be, we have to pre-plan, and it keeps adding, like every day it keeps adding the data, right? So those are the big difference. You can just go through it, but it's nothing big fancy about it. But just understand business intelligence and data science. Business intelligence is what happened. It is descriptive analytics. Data science is more with why, what will happen, what should I do. So what is the action items? That is called the predictive or prescriptive analysis. Prescriptive means, oh, like the doctor give a prescription like that. Oh, this business is doing bad, this is a prescription, right? So that's what more about predictive and prescriptive analysis. So hope you understand. So can I move into the next slide? And we are diving into Power BI. Okay, so just to go back and what we learned, what is business intelligence? The main thing is collecting the data, store the data, analysis the data, and reporting using the business intelligence tools. And then we also learned about some terms related to business intelligence. And then we also kind of go through what is the difference between the data science and business intelligence. So now we are jumping into Power BI. So we are going to cover introduction to data visualization, how we can visualize the data, and then introduction to Power BI, what it is, and how, giving a overview of Power BI, and how to download and install Power BI desktop, and then the user interface of Power BI desktop, and introduction to the data set we are going to work on. We are doing some workshops, so that will be covered. Okay, so Power BI, what is Power BI? So according to Microsoft, Power BI is a tool helping organization to take quick decision by creating reports and dashboards. So what you understood is Power BI is a tool which you can create reports and dashboard so that it will help the organization to make quick decisions. So with Power BI, you can shape. So what all things Power BI can do? You can collect the data, transform the data, aggregate means summarize, average, things like that, and apply complex calculations with conditions, logics, produce wide range of visually enriched reports or dashboards. So Power BI is a tool creating reports and dashboards which can shape the data, transform the data, aggregate the data, apply complex calculations. So that is what the Power BI is all about. It's a tool from Microsoft. So I just wanted to give you some idea about so there is something called the Magic Quadrant. In that Magic Quadrant, Power BI is one of the leader. If you look at that, Power BI, Tableau, and Qlik is three leaders in this market. And then Google, MicroStrategy are all on this challenges. So TIPCO software, so these are all the big players in this business intelligence. But you look at Microsoft is one of the Power BI is one of the leader in that market segment. So there's a Gartner report. So if you are looking at any product, how they're performing, you see it's called the Gartner's Magic Quadrant. In that quadrant, if you look at the leaders, those are the products are doing really good in this market. So learning Microsoft Power BI, Tableau, and Qlik is a very good way to be in the market in the business intelligence side. Okay, so you understood where Power BI stands. They are the number one now. So why Power BI. Yeah, like we are learning Power BI right now. Why we are learning it? In this, there are so many other products in the market, but why Power BI? So one of the answer is it is recognized by the leader by the Gartner Magic Quadrant, which I already showed you. They are the leaders, and it's very cost effective. Power BI desktop is free, where you can develop or build reports, and we are going to do some workshops now. But other than, once you create the report, you need to publish it so that other users can, you can share this report with others in your organization, and that is only $10 per month per user license. Compared to all other products, this is one of the cheapest product available in the market, and that's one of the main reason Power BI is becoming used by so many businesses. And then the collection of 300 plus visuals. So like different charts, a pie chart, like column chart, like that, there are like 300 different visuals, and I'm going to come to you about that visuals. And then you have 1800 functions. So there is something called DAX functions, where you can transform the data using some of the functions. So Power BI has 1800 plus functions available. Like in Excel, you have functions available, like calculated functions. Like that, there are 1800 functions available. And then it also has a data cleaning tool called Power Query. So any business intelligence tool need a data cleaning tool, and Power BI has this tool available as part of the Power BI tool. It's called Power Query. And then it has a great compatibility with all Microsoft products. So the reason why I said is, once you create a report, you can publish into SharePoint, Microsoft SharePoint, which is a kind of a portal which most of the organization uses. And you can also publish this report into Teams. I'm going to show you some example how it interacts with other products. And then it can fetch hundreds and 100 plus data sources. So what is a data source? The data comes from different sources. One from databases, structured databases. Sometimes the data comes from unstructured databases. Sometimes data is coming from an API, REST API. So data is coming in so many different ways. So Microsoft Power BI can handle 100 plus data sources. I'll give you more detail about that. So that is one of the reasons why Power BI is used by many organizations. Can go to the next slide. So the architecture of Power BI as a developer or a designer or a business analyst, what they do, there are 3 tasks we do in a very high level. You collect the data and then create report and publish report. So these are the 3 main tasks in Power BI: collecting the data, massage data, do the data mining, analysis and everything. And then you create dashboards or reports. And then you publish that report where other people can also look at the report. And then basically you are publishing a report so that one report will be available throughout your organization. Okay. So the more about, I'm going to come more about Power BI desktop. So we are going to work more with Power BI desktop. So Power BI desktop is a tool where you can install in your computer. But when you publish the report, it goes into a cloud. That's a green Power BI service. When you publish the report, it goes into a cloud. But before that, you are developing this Power BI reports in your Power BI desktop. So Power BI desktop has 3 things. One, Power Query, Power Pivot, and Power View. So I'm going to come detail about that, and then we will start with the, with actual Power BI, then you will understand more about it. So Power Query, Power Pivot, and Power View. three things combined as Power BI desktop. So Power Query is nothing but collecting the data, transform the data. So in any business intelligence tool, you have to perform extract the data, means getting the data from a source, and you transform the data and load it into a repository in Power BI. So those are the three process it does in Power Query. It's called extract, transform, and load. ETL tool, we call it as ETL tool. There is a lot of ETL tools available, but Power BI has this integrated. It's called a Power Query. So if you look at the left side, these are all the data coming from a database, and then some coming from unstructured data like files, and then some coming from a cloud, and you're gathering all those information and store the data in different ways. So either you store the data into Microsoft Azure Data Lake storage. Data Lake is more about a collection of data stored in one storage, huge storage. And then Microsoft Dataverse is another database from Microsoft CRM, and you can store the data into Microsoft Dataverse, tons and tons of data. And you can also store the data in Microsoft Excel. If it's a small data set, you can store this into Microsoft Excel. And then also, you can also store the data into Microsoft Power BI as a data repository. So basically, just to understand, Power Query is able to collect the data, that extract the data on the green, and then transform, which is in the orange, and then load it into these different data sources. And from there, we are going to create reports and dashboards. Then comes Power Pivot. So Power Pivot is nothing but a modeling of the data. So we get the data from different data source in different tables. So for example, you have sales table, you have products table, territories table, customers table, and calendar. So how do you create the relationship? So that is what the Power Pivot does. So you can create the relationship between those tables. And when you run the report, the relationship will take the data from, okay, if you are taking a data from a product, so automatically the product name and other information about weight unit measures, you can filter on based on that. And you can find trends based on what the other, so they are called dimensions. You can call it as different dimensions, and the sales is more like a fact table. So in business intelligence, you will have a fact and a dimension tables. And then there is a time series table called a calendar. So we will come to that more in detail, but just understand that Power Pivot is a modeling tool. Once you collect the data in our previous process, once you collect the data, we are setting up the relationship. That's what a Power Pivot is. And finally, so little bit more about Power Pivot. So Power Pivot is not just the modeling, but it has a lot more than that. So one thing is, it doesn't have any limit of the number of records stored. Excel can have up to 1 million rows, but this has no limit. You can have any number of records stored in the Power Pivot, which is our data store here for Power BI. And Power Pivot is very good at compressing the data. And if you have millions of records, it can compress in a way that it can retrieve the data so quickly. And I will show you some example of 55 to 100 million records, how the data is coming in a matter of seconds. It loads it. But imagine like a million records store opening in an Excel and doing some analysis. It's almost like impossible. Since Power Pivot is under the hood, in fact, a full-fledged database engine, you can call it as a full-fledged database engine because it can store enormous data so that it's a full-fledged database, right? and it copes with a large amount of information very quickly and able to. Okay, so that you can analyze the data pretty quickly, like a summarize, aggregation, and things like that. So I'm going to go a little slow. My daughter said goes a little slow, so I was going a little faster, I believe. So that is what a power pivot is, and then the power view. So again, going back, I was going pretty quick. So what I said is Power BI has three things. One is Power Query, Power Pivot, and Power View. So Power Query is nothing but an ETL tool for Power BI. What a Power BI is, Power Query is, it can extract the data, do the transformation, and then load it into a destination for processing the data, right? That is what a Power Query is. And Power Pivot is an in-memory data modeling, because in-memory means the data will be stored in the memory, so it can quickly retrieve the data, and it is in a highly compressed data storage. So one of the example here, how the data, you can transform the data, load it, and then create the relationship between the data. So it's kind of like a relational database model. And we kind of look through a little bit more about Power Pivot. Okay, Power View, once you have the Power Query which collect the data, and then we just do the modeling of data using Power Pivot, now it is the time to visualize the data. That is what a Power BI does, which will, because we have all the data here in the Power Pivot side, where you can create graphs, you can create forecast analysis. It has its own artificial intelligence built to it. You can ask questions, and then the graph or reports can answer you like a bot, right? You can also integrate with Python and R and doing more predictive analytics. So it's all about developing a report and doing some AI, artificial intelligence, using the Cortana that Microsoft has. So if you look at the Power Query, the language is they call it as M language. And you don't need to worry about that. It's all drag and drop, low code solution. DAX is another language for functions. We talk about 1800 functions. So there's a lot of DAX language functions are available. You can create cubes, and we will come to it a little bit more detail, but this is what it is. So all these three things together as Power BI: Power Query, Power Pivot, Power View. Okay. So now to install Power BI, it's pretty easy to install. When you go to Microsoft, this link, you can download it. Download the 64-bit and install into your Windows machine. For Mac, I will, Narsi, I will go through it, and then I will post it how to do that. Or I will try and see how it works in Mac. So you can go ahead and install it. How many you have installed the Power BI? Just put in the chat, like. Good. Oh, good job. All right. I think a lot of people are installed without any trouble. All right. So now what I'm going to do is some more kind of exercise. Okay. So I'm going to open Power BI. Let me start with that, so you don't. Power BI desktop. Let's go through how the interface is going to be. Look, for Power BI. So you have this screen comes up, you can just close this. So when you open Power BI desktop, this is how it looks like. So one of the things you need to understand that whenever you are saving this file, save as, that file is going to be showing up here. So right now, I didn't save anything. That's why it says untitled. Just like a Word document, when you are creating a document or Excel, it will be untitled, right? We didn't save it. We didn't put a name for it. Then look at the left side, you see the save button. You can always click save while you working on the project or a report. You can save in between. So there is a save button on this left-hand corner on the top. Also, when you make some mistakes, you can go back, we used to do Control Z, like revert or moving forward, apply changes. So that's what that for. So we just covered this one, and on the left side on the top bar. And then you see a lot of menu items here. So file, and you can create new, new project. And then there is an insert option. Insert means it itself is giving you an idea. You want to insert something into the report. And then this is what the Power Pivot is, like modeling. You haven't got any data here. So the modeling is not managing relationship is grayed out because we don't have a data yet. So we will have it soon. And then there are some formatting, then any help. It's pretty simple to do. So with each menu item, you will see a lot of, this is called a ribbon, like, get data. So home, you are collecting the data, and this is where the Power Query is. But even though you see Power BI has Power Query, Power Pivot, and the Power View, you don't even see what is, where should I go for Power Query and where should I go to Power? Everything is integrated. So you can say get data is kind of like a Power Query. And the Power Pivot is more about modeling, right? It's pretty simple the way they created. So for each menu item, you will have ribbons. So basically, it's the same concept like Excel or Word. It's the same thing. If you are able to get those, if familiar with that, it's easy to navigate. And then on the right side, you see the visualizations. These are all the visual tools available. Right now, we have, it is showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 36 is showing, but there are so many more. Like I told you about 300 plus visuals available. You can import or get more visuals which you needed. And I will show you in one of the workshops how you can do that. So these are the visuals. And this is a filter. Once you get the data, I want to filter the data. That's more about the filter. And the fields are nothing but when you have the data in, and the table and the database is going to show up here. So, and on this left side, you see 3 things, right? One, report. The other one is data. The third one is model, which is a Power Pivot. So you can always go, instead of going to the modeling, you can always go directly to the modeling and look at it. And this is about the data. We don't have data uploaded yet. And this is a report we have. So the first thing what we need to do, we need to collect the data, right? So the main thing they said, there are 4 different ways they said you can collect the data, but there are 180 different data sources available. But these are the ones which you are just starting with, right? So I send you a data set in the email. So let me explain what the data set is about. We are going to work on the data set. And we are going to work on an Excel file because you all we all can work with Excel. You have either Excel installed in your machine. So we have a data, a fictitious company called Bits Lab, Superstore, Bits Superstore, and they have three different data available. One is orders, and the second one is region database, where this person is related to this region, like the manager, regional manager. And then there are some orders we got rejected or returned. So kind of like an Amazon data store. We have a sample data. The good thing with this data set is we have some date fields available. See the date. These are dates. So we can do some graphs based on the previous year's performance, right? So here we have how many years? 4 years of data we have, right? So now we have some textual data, customer ID, name. Then we have some segmentation, right? These different segments. And then the business segments. We can do some performance on the segmentation side. Then we have something map, like, in the map, we can say, so all this data is related to United States, all the orders placed in the United States, and it will tell you which city, which state, what is the postal code, what is the region, south, east, west, north. So we can do some map analysis, like geographical analysis. So this data source is very rich in this, where we can do some learning process from this. We have some category of and subcategory of products which they are selling, right? And this is a sales, the amount, sold amount, how many quantities we sold, discount, and the profit discount. So these are all the fact or measure. We can call it as measures. Like this has a value, definite value. Numerical values are more measures, right? And other things you can call it as dimension. This is the time dimension. You can say dimension. We can look at 2019, how it goes. And then there's another dimension, you can say state. Okay, in this state, how much is Alabama, how many we sold it. And then you can look at this particular region, how the sales was. So those are kind of like a dimension, 3-dimension you can call it. And the category of the product and the subcategory of the product. So this is a good data set, and you have around 10,000 records. This is a very good enriched data set. You can start playing around with Power BI. So I'm going to show you how we can start getting into it. Okay, so that was the introduction about the data set we are going to use. The first thing you need to do is import the data from Excel. And I have put this data set in the data set folder. So this lab Superstore, I am opening that Excel, and you can do it along with me. But if you're having trouble, you can do it later. I have this recorded video. So this Superstore, right? So I just opened that. So once I click open it, so it will show you, because in the Excel we showed you three. I will show you that there are 3 sheets available: orders, people, and returns, right? That's what it is showing. So Power BI thinks that, oh, this is like 3 tables, like orders, people, and returns. Don't worry about this. This is like a in Excel, you are setting up the table as a value, setting up the table. So that's what it is. So we are selecting orders, people, and returns, and load. You can just load the data. We transform data, we can do it later in the next class, but we are going to load the data. So it is loading the data, and it's also creating the model: orders, people, returns. See, 10,000 rows are already loaded. So like I said, on the right side, you see the orders, people, and return, right? There are 3 rows added. I can look at this here. So orders, people, returns. We can create relationship between those 3, but today we are not going to do that much on that. We are going to do more about creating visualization, right? So right now we have the data imported. We are going to work more with the orders table right now. And let's go from there. So going back to the PowerPoint slide, just you understood that, right? All the different menu items and things like that, how this is working. So let me go back to the PowerPoint. We are loaded the data set here. We looked at the interface. We also looked at how adding the data, and we also talk about the introduction to dataset. This is what we are going to build, like a dashboard for you, but we are going to go through different stages to understand each graphs component, and then we will finally build this this dashboard. That's the idea behind it. Right now we are using orders, region, and returns from Excel. We already looked at it. So the next thing I wanted to go, before we are building a report, I wanted to show you, there are so many different type of graphs. So here, if you look at it, you see the different graphs. You must have seen that, like a bar chart, right? And then the Slack clustered bar chart, and then there is a clustered column chart. There are so many different graphing methods, like line chart, there's the area chart, ribbon chart, and then pie chart, and then donut chart. So there's so many different charts. But one thing you should understand, that you cannot, based on your need, these graphs can vary. You cannot use a particular report for that particular graph. So I'll go and show you why we are using bar graphs. So the display type. So first of all, the bar graphs are used for showing the numbers in categories. And we are going to do each one as a separate session. And the circle graphs, compare the parts of data to the whole number. So 10% of the whole sale, like 20% of the whole sale. That's why we use the circle chart, which is pie chart or donut chart. And double graph is a double bar graph is 2 or more data set you want to compare between, let's say, East and region. I wanted to compare last 4 years of data. You wanted to have a double bar graph. And then we have box Vixers graph, and it shows the variations. Then histogram shows the frequency. We do a lot of histogram using the machine learning. And then some of them line graph and line plot. So I'm going to show you in detail here. So this is kind of a bar graph. So you look at the sales, type of cookies you are selling, right? So you can see, how differentiate those sales are. But line graph is more like a time, right? Okay, last 10 days or last 12 months, how the sales was. So their x-axis is always a time or a date, like a month, January, February, March, like that. And the price or the sale on the y-axis. But on the first one, you cannot do a daily or if you are doing a monthly or a time related thing, it's going to be so huge, it's not going to be helpful for the bar graph. But line graph will tell you how you are going from one month to the other month. So you can see like the stock market, how the stock has been performing, like that. And here the pie chart, this is a circular chart. It will tell you of the whole sale, 45% of people, like favorite sport. 45% people of all the people, they liked the blue, that whatever sport is that. So it's like comparing with the total. And then the double bar graph is similar to a bar graph, but then you are comparing certain category or a year. The histogram is how it is distributed, like the education of a certain region, how it is being distributed. So that's what the histogram is. Box whiskers is, how variation, like, whether the age, that this particular age is going out of this particular, the middle one is the mean, the other one is like you are varying from that average. But we will do some example, we will understand. But I just want to give you a very high overview. A line plot graph. So there are so many different type of graphs, but these graphs vary with what your data is, how you want to proceed. So one of the example here about a dashboard is, this is a column chart, and this is another bar chart, and this is a map, and this is like, how the utilization, how much percentage. So this is a circular chart. So like a lot of these graphs form together one dashboard. So one dashboard can have multiple visual elements, and in one look at this, and you'll understand the whole performance of any entity of the business you wanted to see. So, and dashboard also can have multiple pages like Excel, page 1, page 2, page 3. So you can build more visuals like that in different pages, right? Let me go to the next one, sorry. Okay, so now we are going to go deep into Power BI, and we are going to look at the column chart and go through different charts, like a column chart, stack chart, pie chart, donut chart, decomposition, and ribbon chart. So let's go back to the Power BI, and we already have the data here. So let's say I'm going to do a column chart. Like the way you need to create a chart here, initially you will have something like a page 1. So you can always rename this page into home, something like that. Whatever you like, you can rename it like home page, right? So all you need to do, the first thing you need to do is click this area first, and then click this stacked column chart. This is what we are going to do now. So when you click it, it will add a chart here. You can increase or make it bigger and smaller. And then from orders table. So whenever you are selecting this, you look at under the visualization, you have a build visual. There are 3 things you'll appear. One, add data to your visual. And the second one is the format visual. And the third one is more about analysis visual, right? So we will be working first we will be working with the build visual. So now what we are trying to do is we wanted to create a region-wise sale. How do we do that, right? So let's say first you click it. This is the data we have. So you look at this in the x-axis, we are going to put the region. So you can either click, first you click here and then click here and press the the checkbox, or you can do another way. You can do it is you can drag and drop here, right? And the next one is the value, which is the sales, right? We wanted to see how the sales is doing or how the profit is doing. So let's take the profit for region. When I click the profit, you look at that. So west, east, south, and central. And let's look at the data from here also, right? This is the data here. We can also look at region. Where is the region? Let's go to the region, segment, category, subcategory, product, sales, quality. There is a region gone. My eyes are not, oh yeah, see the region. So we have different regions, right? Central, east, south and west. So you can also see the data from here without going anywhere. You can just click here and look at it. So now going back to the graph, see, you can interchange these three. So this is Power View, you can say, and this is Power Query, and this is Power Pivot. You can say that way. So you look at the profit by region. So we have this, and you can also put legend. So if you put the legend, so we don't need to add a data value here. Let's say we can put the legend. So right now we are not going to do the legend now. So let's say how the profit is happening between different regions. There are 3 regions. So now I want to add the amount of the profit. Now you have to go over it and to see the profit. How do I put this profit into this bar graph? So you can this is for this, you can click it and then click the formatting. So every visual you have to add data and format your visual. So you can just say, the data labels, right? You can press on, all the data labels are available on the graph, right? So there are so many things you can do. You can position it on the, outside. You can put outside, or you can just put vertical, like you want to put any way you want it. And then you can do a lot of these, like formatting, like instead of blue, I want it like red. You can do that. So you can do a lot of formatting here. So this is one of the examples. And also you can also change the title. So if you want to change this particular profit by region title, you can do that. You can go here and then you can put that here, right? And then, so there's a lot of things you can do. This is one example of a simple column chart, right? So now we are going to, this is one of the column chart we are doing it. So we are doing another stacked chart. So let's say we are doing the same chart, but we are going to add the segment. So one of the way you can do is you can copy this, and then you can also paste it here. You can copy and paste just like any Word document, Excel or anything, you can do it. So let's add the segment to it, to the legend. So let's say adding the segment to the legend, right? So now this become like a, so what is this going to look like? So each region, this particular segment is performing well. See that? So when you are going to the executive team that say, oh, how the performance is, the West region is performing well. So this is like a comparison between the different segments. So this is more like a 3-dimension. This is like a 2-dimension, you can call it. And you can also how do you do the formatting? You can click here and formatting here. You can do like the title, the column, the data labels, you want to make it on and off. You can do total labels. You can also change the background area you want to do it. So all those things you can do it. You can try different things and to make it more differently, right? So here there's another thing you can do in the segment. I can click the corporate segment and it will highlight all the corporate segments. And I want the home office sales, I can click that. So let's say if I want to see the detail of that 34K or 57K, how is it doing? What you can do, you can see the data by showing show data point as a table. Click that it's going to show you all the data, and you can export the data into your way. Okay, I want to export into a CSV file. You can do more research it on this. So you can do that. So without leaving PowerPoint, Power BI graph, you can do it by right click, show data point as table. Okay. So the other thing also you can do. So I wanted to do some more analysis. I wanted to pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I only wanted to do look at the data in detail. You can just say include, and that include will give you the data for that particular data, right? So that's what the include is for. That the filter is coming here, and you can look at that data. So see that the include means only those things are included in the graph. That's what it is, right? So basically you can go back and you can remove the filter here again, going back to this. But let's say I don't want it to see all these orange ones. I can just exclude it. So right click and say exclude it, and your graph is going to come with that only, right? And then you can just right click and you can export the data point as table. You can do that, and you can do some analysis distribution. Where is the distribution? Why is the find where the distribution is different? And it will tell you some, it will give you some more detail with the Cortana, like, it will give you some, it does some artificial intelligence, machine learning, and then it will give you some possible questions. It will come up with, see how many questions is there. This may be the question you are thinking about. So so Texas and California or Pennsylvania, in that, how they are doing, right? So you can, I didn't give anything. I just click the analysis. So it can create, it can find the patterns, right? So going back to the filter, and I can close the filter going back to norm. So this is what is called a stacked chart. So regular chart, and then you have a stacked chart. And then I'm going to go further more into columnar chart. This is like a vertical, like, it's coming like this, right? So let's say, let's create another chart where I am putting, say, region, subcategory, and say. It's going to be hard to read this, right? So instead of that, you can just pivot this into a column chart. So let's say instead of this region, I'm putting subcategory here and region here. See, so now you can see a better way. So let's say if I am putting the regular chart, it's going to be so hard, because if you have more than, or 10 different things, it's going to be hard to read through it, right? So it's always good to have a column chart. In this case, you can go further, it can roll down or scroll down. So this is, again, it's a pivoting the chart from line chart to column chart. That's all what it does. See, the one we did like this, but this kind of chart is good if you have the number of categories are 5 or less. But if it is more than that, this is the best way to display it, because here subcategory has 18 subcategories. So you can look at like this, right? And again, in this also, you can just say, show the data points. You can export the data from here. You can do that and go back. All right. So I was just covering column chart and stacked column chart. Hope you understood that. I'm going to go to the pie chart. Did you all get it? You can try yourself. So this is a regular column chart, and this is a stacked column chart, but this is a columnar column chart. So, okay, let's go to the pie chart. So again, what you need to do, you have to click the canvas. This is called the canvas. You click the canvas and then click the pie chart. Here, there's a pie chart here, right? And then in the pie chart, what you need to do, okay, I wanted to see the region and sale. Look at this. So this is what the pie chart will do, where it will tell you what the percentage of the whole sale. And this west region has 31%, east region is 68%, like that. So this will give you a good idea of the distribution among the whole total sale. And again, like I told you, you can click this graph and then click the format, and you can do a lot of formatting option here. You can change the detail labels. You can do that. If you don't want it to show the detail labels, you can just say yes or no. And then you want to position this inside, you can do that amount, right? And you can also say, okay, I want the percentage of total only. So you can do that, right? Or I want the data value percentage total, you can do that. So, and you can also rotate it. So you can format this in any way you want it. Slices, we will do it another class. And the position, you want to do it on the top corner, you want to keep those position on the title, you want to do it. So you can try different things here with the format and try out. There's nothing wrong in trying out. And you want to put the title, different title, region graph. You can do that. And here also you can do right click, show or data point as table, include, exclude. It's everything is coming in the same way you do with other graphs also. So just let's say you keep it. It's a similar thing. I just copying and pasting, Control C, Control V. It's kind of like copy, just like Word and Excel, you can copy that, right? When I click it and I want to change this into a donut chart, you just click the donut chart. See that? So the good thing with pie chart and donut chart is similar, but in donut chart, there is a hole, the donut hole in the middle. You can put more images or something. Let's say I want to put an image here, right? Here, insert an image. Where is the image? Image. And let me look at that. There's something I can I just put some image here with something, you can put it in the middle. So you can just say, what kind of graph is that or something like that. This is a bad example I was getting, but you can just add an image here. But the rest of the things are similar. Like you can just click the same, you can show the point as a table, and you can include, exclude, all those things you can do. You can try yourself how this pie chart and a donut chart, both are similar. They are like circular chart, which is used for where do you stand, where this particular group is stand in the whole, the total of the whole total, right? What is the percentage? That's what we are using, not for time series analysis, but this is for that. Okay, so now we look at pie chart and donut chart. Now comes the decomposition tree, and this is like an artificial intelligence visual. I'm going to show you how this is going to work. Yeah, I'm just creating another page here. And then the one we are going to do is decomposition tree. So this is a decomposition tree. You click here. So analysis by, I want to analysis the sales and explained by. There are two things, like explained by, I want to see region and segment and subcategory. So I'm able to put three things here, right? So I'll explain you how it is going to look like. So the total sales, so you have the analysis, which will only accept the numbers, and the other things are dimensions. So you see a plus sign here. When you see the plus sign, I want to see per region, and it's going to come with the region here, right? And in this, I want to see per segment. And in this, I want to see a subcategory. So I set it up like region, segment, and subcategory. See, the beauty of it is, okay, I want to see East. I click it, automatically this changes. See that? See, you can see all the categories here and how does it look like. And the same thing, you can go central. I can go from central. I can go to south, and then I can only see, the consumer or corporate, I can see. But at the same time, I can always, instead of category, subcategory, I can just say, okay, I want, instead of subcategories too much, I can just say category, okay, right here. So I can say, okay, I want C category wise. See that, furniture, technology, and you can put subcategory if you want, like, subcategory under this, you can put a subcategory here. Okay, and then say, okay, furniture under furniture. It's kind of like a drill down view. So once you said that, you can always remove it by doing it here. But again, you go back, subcategory. But after doing a lot of back and forth, we'll say, okay, I'm going to lock this level so that once you lock it, all the previous levels will be locked. So then you won't be able to, you have to say unlock to change it. So this is called the decomposition tree. It's a lot used in machine learning to explore the data, decomposition tree. It's very useful if it's very dynamic also, like people can look at, looking at this level, I want to go and drill down into this, which is going to be very useful for decomposition tree. Hope you understood the decomposition tree. The next thing is the ribbon chart. We still have 15 minutes. I think we can cover that also. I know there's a lot to cover. So let's say in ribbon chart is basically, if you look at the ribbon chart, this is one ribbon chart here. So the ribbon chart is mainly used for ranking purpose. So let's say I want to see the sales. Where's the sale? Okay, I want to see the sales because it's a value, right? It's a number which is in the value. And I want to see the subcategory or let's say, and the legend is region. Okay, here. So instead of subcategory, I'm going to create a category because there's so many things are there, okay? All right. So basically, this is a ribbon chart, for example, right? Like, this is, let's look at a time analysis. That will be much better to do. Let me, instead of category, I'm going to put a date year. We have something like a date here, order date, and I'm going to put the year here. Okay, so 2017, 2018, 2019, and 20, and central, east, south, and west. So the way you should read is, this is in 2017, this is the first place, rank 1. This is rank 2, then the third one is 3 and 4. But it will show you, the rank 1 becomes rank 2 in 2018, and then it pick up in 2019 and 2020, it picked up well. So this is also called a ranking chart. But look at the blue, it is going up on 2018. Something did happen in 2018, make the sale go up. Then it went to the second place. But but the orange one, which is south, it's been decreasing over the years. So this is called a ribbon chart. Again, in the ribbon chart, you can always do show table and print it. So ribbon chart is more for ranking purpose. You can also use the time on the bottom, and you can also say region by region, date, and the amount sale. So you can also say, I want to include the data label. I can just say, press yes. So it will show you. So based on that, we can come up with different graphs. So we just covered some of the major visual, like a very most of the standard visuals we looked at it. Now we can look at the tables matrix in the next class. I hope we can cover the tables and other. I was hoping to cover the mapping all today, but it's already 11:18. Let's wrap up going back to what we learned today. Just put in the chat if you are having trouble understanding, please let me know. So again, back to Power BI is a data visualization tool. And we talk about business intelligence. What is business intelligence? What all the different functions and how we are combining different tasks to make the business intelligence more powerful. And then we talk about what is descriptive analytics and predictive analytics. And then we went more into Power BI. And we also looked at the Magic Quadrant, how Power BI is doing. So one thing is, once you learn Power BI, Tableau, and other products are pretty quick to learn because the same, but the interface is different. That's all because all this business intelligence has the ETL, like the Power Query, and then modeling, which is a Power Pivot, and the Power View, which is a visualization tool. So once you learn Power BI, Tableau, you can learn in a day or two. It's pretty standard. And then we talk about the Magic Quadrant. And then we talk about 300 plus visuals. So this is what I was talking about, the visuals. These are all the visuals. There are 300 plus visuals are available. Right now, it's only showing 36, but there is more to it. So you can keep adding. And then there are collection 1800 functions. We haven't touched on the DAX functionality, but we will be covering too soon. So can fetch up to 100 plus data sources. We only looked at Excel, but think about 100 plus means we only use Excel. So there are 99 plus available for you to get the data from. And also collect the data, create the report, and publish. One of the example I wanted to show you is when you create the report and you have to publish to a place where people can see. So this is a SharePoint site where we can publish this Power BI report. And this Power BI report, this has around 70 million records. But look at how fast it is loading, right? It just, when you refresh the page, it just loads it pretty quickly. In a couple of seconds, it will load that much data, and then it just compressed. And the other thing you can look at is, you can also, this is the integration with Microsoft SharePoint. But if you look at here in Teams, you can integrate that with Teams. So you can go into looking at one of the report, like let's say I want to see one of the report, and this has like, around near to 100 million records, but it retrieves so quickly that, see, this is loading the report. Just want to show you how quickly these reports are loaded. So you have different pages on this side, see campaign wise. So you have different, so donuts, you click donuts here, it will show only that. So that is what we are going to learn about tables. You can go and it's so dynamic. Member summary, you can do that. Member details. See, this is for 2022, which we have around 55 to 60 million records. So just wanted to tell you that how fast this data is being loaded. So this is loaded pretty quick. And once it is loaded, you can just dynamically, you can just go ahead and I want to see all the quarter report. These are called slices. You can do that. So just to give an idea how Power BI is distributed to see other users to see the reports. You can publish it in Teams, Microsoft SharePoint. And we also talk about Power Query, Power Pivot, and Power View. And Power Query is all about collecting. It's an ETL tool. Pivot is as a modeling. Power View is creating graphs. And this is how you are installing Power BI desktop. We touch base on that. We also looked at the interfaces, like, what is menu, what all the different buttons do. And this is what we are going to build in the next class. And we talk about different graphs, when to use them. This is an example of a dashboard. So we also looked at the column chart, stack chart. So we kind of looked at the column chart, and we looked at different pages, like different categories. This is a donut chart. We also look at the composition tree and the ribbon chart. So we end up with that, which we are already coming to our timeline. So any questions? Narsi, you want to say something about the visualization? How important is this related to data science? I think Narsi is not here. Mani, you want to say something? Saravanan? All right.
Venkatesh, it's a good class.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Is there anything that this is basically, once you learn Power BI, any other tool is easy to learn, right, Narsi? It's similar, concept is the same. You load the data, prepare the data, load it, process it, and create visualizations. So isn't it, Narsi? It's going to be easy with other tools. Okay.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So from next week, we are going to work on tables, metrics, and then graphical data, cards, and filters. And also we will be using some real streaming data where you will see the data keeps changing. So you can look at the graph to see the up to the real time data moving. So how is it working? So we have some real data, real-time data set we can try, and we can do some exercise on that. But if anybody has question, I think after this class, you will definitely be able to start creating chart graphs and things like that. You can play with some data. Especially when you're going into, especially for kids who are going into internship, there will be opportunities like where when you go and work with the department, we can always ask for data set where you can come up with some graphs and share it to your boss, whoever you are reporting to, and that's going to give them a good let's say, this person understand the whole concept, you can start working on it and give a good impression on your boss. So Power BI is something where you can install in your laptop and start working right away. But making sure that the data set, when you're using a data set, you should get your permission from your department head when you go for internship. All right, so I am stopping the recording. Do you have any question?